I'm the Director of Architecture for the Intercontinental brand, Europe, Russia, CIS. It's a large stretch, and the resurgence of the brand made it imperative for the company to assign a dedicated workforce. And being a pain in the neck for our entire portfolio in Europe, they told me to take the helm. And we signed 40 in 8 months, which is unheard of. So I think it's working so far. Well, today I'm here to share with you our take on luxury. It's a tempting topic, luxury. And let's start by tackling the issue. Innovative luxury is what we're looking at, okay, but before innovative, I would like to tackle the issue itself, the luxury, the concept. Because everything in our world has to be innovative somehow. Otherwise it's boring and it's passé. It doesn't last, it doesn't exist at all. But luxury, well, this has been one of the most popular discussion topics of the last decade, to define luxury. And it has been explained by many with an individual take because it's got different meanings for each one of us in the room. Luxury means different for every one of us because we resemble the term, the concept with our past experiences and our aspirations of the future as well. So what does luxury mean indeed? For many years, we identified luxury with sumptuous living. So when you Google the term, this is one of the visuals that you're going to come up with. Does it mean it's luxurious? Well, yes, it does. But is this luxury in its own essence? I doubt it. And we're going to tackle it that way. Because when you keep on Googling the term, these are the images that come to you. The components that are supposed to define luxury are, in the dictionary terms, I'm going to read it out from the dictionary actually, a material object, service, etc. conducive to sumptuous living, usually a delicacy, elegance, or refinement of living rather than a necessity, or free or habitual indulgence in or enjoyment of comforts and pleasures, in addition to those necessary for a reasonable standard of well-being. Meaning, luxury is usually deemed to be a plus, a bonus, over a necessity. And if you elaborate on it, it's going to be uber sophisticated that only a select few can achieve. Well, looking at this from this perspective, looking at luxury from a different perspective, I would like to have it as a problem to elaborate on. And elaborating on problems, we have different solution mentalities. They may eventually lead to the same result, but on the way, they may have different consequences. So let's have a look at it in a wider perspective. When we speak about luxury as hospitality professionals or service providers, who is going to be our target clientele? And what kind of luxury are we supposed to provide for them to win them? A popular subject has been the millennials for the last 5-6 years. And they're already decision makers. They have started to become decision makers in major industries as well. So when we look at them, just for a recap, they have been born between 1980 and 2000. They are the largest generation, 2.5 billion people worldwide, and they're very diverse, both ethnically and racially. So they were born into technology. I was chatting with Philippe just 15 minutes ago, and we were joking about what we were like when we were their age. I mean, when I was 5, my daughter, at the moment, is riding a horse, taking ballet classes, plays the piano, speaks 2 languages. When I was her age, I was climbing trees, and I could barely speak 1 language. So it's a different paradigm shift. Their mentality is different. So if this is going to be our next generation of clientele, we must be in the know of what they're going to be up to. So we're looking at them, and IHG as well, very carefully, because they're very confident. They have high expectations of the future. And They're achievement-oriented. I call them predators. They don't take no for an answer. They will find a way to achieve what they want to achieve. But the funny part is, when you ask them to describe themselves, they will say, they're people savvy. They're a bit tech savvy. They're very loyal. They love fun, yes, but just a bit. And they're very, very hardworking. I'm sorry, but our human resources department says they're lying. Because they're not people savvy at all, but they're very, very tech savvy. And are they loyal? Come on. No way. They're not loyal at all. The average lifespan of a millennial in an institution is averaging between 4 to 6 years, tops. They're changing positions all the way. They love fun. They do. And, well, I don't believe our human resources department when they say they're not hardworking. They're hardworking, but in a different way. So these people, these are the millennials. These are the people that you're working with in the office as well. They have a different take on work. And actually, they have started changing the previous generations. Baby boomers, Generation X, even. They have had an influence on the way that we work. One of the things that became popular with this generation is now not radical, actually, not radical at all for other generations. That's using surrogates, but not the surrogates that we saw back in 1982 with Blade Runner, with Harrison Ford chasing after replicas, or Bruce Willis in 2009 in the movie Surrogate. So when we're speaking about surrogates, this is not what we're talking about. I'm going to introduce you to a surrogate right now. This is my surrogate. I'm not a millennial, but I learned to live like one, to survive actually, because otherwise they're going to wipe everyone out of surrogate. So this is my surrogate. What does it mean? This guy doesn't sleep, doesn't eat, doesn't need to socialize the way we do. And yet, on a parallel universe, he is working 24/7. What for? He's online. I can fine-tune him to socialize, to link, even to see greener pastures. And actually, I have to admit the fact that my company that I'm working for at the moment found me via LinkedIn. So there are different mediums that these digital surrogates are all around the place. They interact and they grow. So this is a different definition of the personas that we're building in. We're carrying them in our pockets. And wherever we go, we access that self before we go to bed to see what he or she has done for us during the day, or during the night even when we were sleeping. This mentality has implications in other ways of living. Well, let's get into some physical terms. You may be suffering a temporary issue with your health, or it can be worse. A person who's suffering arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, is on the lesser side of luxury when you compare him or her with someone who is using prosthetics today. And they're so nimble. And these are all brain controlled. This is not rocket science anymore. It's reality. And people who cannot perform the tasks under normal circumstances can actually perform now with the aid of technology. So this is a mindset, actually. If something doesn't work, even in your body, I'm not joking, but in 10, 15 years' time, you can replace that with an artificial limb that you can control with your mind. So this is a mindset that we need to adapt fast, because we don't take no for an answer. It's unstoppable in terms of activity, day and night, by a digital surrogate. And they can actually change something that is physically not sufficient. And the next step, adding beauty with the artificial intelligence coming So this is the mindset of our up-and-coming client. What do we have to do as hospitality service providers? Should we adapt to the wearables, the interfaces that these people are using, and we are now using as well? You may possess some of these in your pockets at home to be connected to the world that you're living in, to fulfill the tasks and obligations you're supposed to. And the mentality leads to another interface, transportation, which has been one of the most important tasks in human history, going from point A to point Z, not to point B anymore. Even the drones that we're giving as presents to our kids nowadays are changing. I'm going to introduce you to a drone, the first drone in history that is able to carry people. This was launched in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago. This is very, very fresh. It's e-hand. And actually, what we use is what you all have in your pockets. It's a tablet that you attach and detach. To put coordinates in, and the vehicle takes you there. Another thing is about production. What you're looking at, for me, is one of the testaments to the fact that the production industry is going to change radically. This is the first 3D printed shoe that is on sale in the market today. Do you need a factory in Vietnam to outsource to do it for you? You just need a machine in your living room to do this. It's incredible in terms of flexibility, and it extends to building materials as well. We're using new components today to do things we used to do in a different way, in a most agile, flexible manner. Okay, yes, most of you know that I'm a motorcycle aficionado, but I'm going to use it as a mentality shift. The one at the top is a Buell. Buell used to be, it is non-existent anymore, used to be an offshoot of Harley Davidson. The new mentality to turn this $3,000 motorcycle into something else, which is on sale for $15,000 at the moment, is the mentality I'm talking about. They do not take anything for granted. You can change anything, modify and customize. It is a very, very personified concept of luxury that we're looking at today. VR, virtual reality, and today we can actually use cell phones to be implemented, our own cell phones, implemented into the machinery to give us the opportunity to step into different realms or be in different places. You can visit any city on Google Earth with virtual reality today, as though you're on the street looking at the place. I used it once for a project that I had to work on, but I couldn't have the time to go to. I used it, and it worked very well. And Goldman Sachs last week announced that virtual reality is going to be bigger as a business in 10 years over TV sets. Now, looking at their performance back in 2008, I think we have to be careful about Goldman Sachs. But still, they have a point, and it's going ahead. The good old desktop computer. Look at that. This is the size now. This is the size of a desktop computer. Or any given laptop acting as a tablet. I'm talking about the mentality of multitasking, an unstoppable range of activities that you fulfill via interfaces that you can carry wherever you are. So this is the kind of clientele we need to speak to as hospitality professionals. Or, well, you can say, you know what, this is too much. I want to stick with the old school. Okay. You can see this in the last issue of Wallpaper magazine. So they are flexible. These people are very surprising. They're thrifty. And they can actually use this instead of a very sophisticated interface. What does this all mean? Is it so unpredictable to define luxury today with these people in the workplace? No. What we found out is that they're living their work, just like many of us. I'm absolutely sure when you wake up to nature's call at 3 a.m., if your handheld device is blinking on the table, can you tell me that you're not going to look at it? You are going to look at it. Don't tell me you won't. Because that irresistible urge to be in the know of what's going on, and your brain, working 24/7 now, is taking precedence over your comfort. As we know, this is the new terms of comfort we're talking about. Well, these are living their work, yes. Don't we have any other people on the planet who do it differently? We do. They're also living their work. Totally disconnected. Totally. These are Sri Lankan fishermen on stilts. The only connection these four guys have at that very moment is the four of them. Is it so? Let's elaborate. There's a different take on the previous generations. They say offline becomes a new luxury. Offline is the new luxury. I'm seeing postings on LinkedIn saying that pretend that it's 1995. There is no internet in this country. So offline is the new luxury. Really? The numbers don't add that up. The numbers say half of the world's population in 4 years' time from now is going to be connected. There are going to be more than 25 million apps. And you can see the revenue opportunity. Look at the number. Offline is not the new luxury. Because the anticipation of the up-and-coming clientele is to be able to achieve anything like this. You can reach a live video interpreter in under 30 seconds on your computer, wherever you are. And being offline, we can discuss that, but at the outback, being all alone for this new up-and-coming clientele, it doesn't seem to apply. They like to socialize. They like to do things that they don't usually do in the office. They experience culinary in the remote outback of Italy, or they can have comfort in Southeast Asia, or they can actually discover an off-the-beaten-path spot in any given city to have a break in their usual natural way of things. So, business trip note of fun can be a great recommendation for a vacation for another. It's so very flexible. Or a get-together like this. This is not what you experience every day, but this is what the new clientele is working for every day. If you want to become offline, yes, you have the opportunity. But I promise you, your mind is not going to be offline. Not for you. Because you're going to land, as long as gravity is there. Okay, so we're talking about new rules of work, new rules of play. I have to say, this is coincidental, continental. This is from the movie John Wick. It is a hotel for assassins, where no business allowed on the side. Assassination is a mentality, actually. It is an ultimate objective to achieve for someone with a task. These people, new clientele, is not any different. Because even now, this guy is thinking about something to do, to achieve, to buy a land, to sell some stocks. It's not that he's reset totally. The comfort of being in the outback, but still being connected to your everyday world, is the new definition of luxury today. So, let's get into hospitality slowly. What we're offering is experiences. A hotel today doesn't need to be like this, although this is a very nice venue. But this is a hotel as well. What did it take for the investor? Not much, actually. But the result? Very interesting. So interesting is another catch for the new generation of clientele. Well, the seas, living on the seas. This is from 1983, and this was one of the first floating hotels back in the day. Thank God it lost its form. But today, this is the thing. Individual modules coming together to form a hotel, and depending on the season, they can gather or scatter. The The technology today enables us to build cruise ships bigger than buildings. So mobility is really, really important. Or if you want to experience something really extraordinary, you can go to a desert, summer or winter, using motors again, high tech. Well, you can manufacture a unit off-site, helicopter it to the site, and I promise you, as long as you provide the means of connectivity and luxury, this is going to cost you as much as you're going to pay in the middle of Paris. Because it's the experience that counts more for the new generation of clientele. They are thrifty, I say, yes, but they're going to be willing to pay for this rather than paying for being in the city. In the city, they can settle down for this. This is the fourth generation of Holiday Inn Express, a budget hotel. Everything just crafted to be economical, clever, this and that, okay. But these people are not sad to spend the night over here. So we have opportunity. We don't need to be scared of these people. They value comfort in a different way. This is Fresh Bed from Netherlands. It was launched in the Sleepy Bed in London. For those of you who were there, you might have seen it. It's just a different take on the very basic components in a hotel room. The bed. How do you make the bed different? How do you provide a different experience? Customize that. Or carry your comfort with you. Even carry your life with you. So, what do we look at? We look at mobility on a very individual basis. But when we come to the cities, the most important thing to provide that luxury we're talking about is that we need to make a better use of what we have. Not too many components. I'm going to show you a couple of examples. This is from China. A quarry that's not in use anymore, that they use to build a hotel. Bordeaux, the legendary Le Grand. Now it's an intercontinent. Same happening in Lyon, an ex-cultural center. Marseille, an ex-hospital. London, a hospital. Tbilisi, a printing house. Antwerp, a bank. What's going on? Putting the existing building stock into better use instead of building a new. Venice, an old palazzo. This is actually paying tribute to the existing building stock, so that the new generations can tap into what was unreachable for the previous generations. A palazzo in Venice, this summer. Palazzo in Venice, but with a very, very modest take. What we implement into the old residential buildings to convert them into hotels doesn't need to be dominating, but you need to have that authority and provide that opportunity for the next generations to experience that. Right in the middle of a forest in Umbria, in Italy. The rustic plushness is there, fine. But the new clientele can actually prefer this. Well, with the same level of plushness, this, in Davos, Switzerland. They have the flexibility, which is an opportunity. And they want to celebrate their off time. Mandarin, Bodrum, had 2 awards at the sleep event this year. I'm on Tokyo, at the top of a building, a very busy district. So today we have the opportunity to allocate some space in the middle of, at the top, at the bottom of an existing building to convert into a hotel. Back in the day, it was very difficult to achieve. Today, we make it happen. Or in China, in Hangzhou, you can reflect on the local culture and provide that experience. I would like to surprise some of you. The ADR of this room is 150 euros. 6-7 years ago, I would say this is not less than 500. Lessons to be learned. Chicago Athletic Club. A club, okay, serving as a hotel to people. How? The culture of the club remains. They did not change anything inside. Yet, they paid homage to the past. And they provided the opportunity of the new guests to come and experience what their grandfathers did, as select members of a club that was difficult to get into. What a privilege. What an experience. For them in Paris. This reception desk is like 60 years old. It's still there. But once you go through this door, you get into this restaurant. A lunch, another one. It has a story to tell. Storytelling was very big 5-6 years ago. Today it's a given. It needs to have a story. This is the modern story of Istanbul that they're telling inside of the menu. You need to go there to eat this means. Well, what are we coming to? The legendary chef Ferran Adria was asked by Lavazza Coffee to come forward with an innovative take on coffee lunch. Too easy. He said, if we can provide something extraordinary off the beaten path, it is going to be worth it. Remember, it is going to leave a residue at the top of the mouth. So if you can eat coffee rather than drink it, nice. Eggs that you consume in your breakfast with coffee, why don't we do a coffee egg? Caviar with coffee. So the guy was brave. And equally, he knows that the new generation of clientele, the guests, as we call them, are brave to experience new stuff. Well, that is why, when I get back to the innovative side of luxury, I would like to say this. If you can provide the means that people don't usually have in normal, their day-to-day life, to experience something new in the comfort of their home or their usual comfort zone, you're providing a plus. Well, because this guy, the Sri Lankan fisherman, can be somebody else tomorrow. Or 5 years from now, we can be looking at a person who's living in Frankfurt, working like 6 days a week, or maybe 70-hour week, but coming here to experience this with the handheld device in the back pocket, in connection with their families, or on Spotify, or sharing this experience with someone in Frankfurt. It's very probable, and this is innovative luxury. On this note, I would like to say thank you for listening. Slightly ahead of schedule.
Really well.
Right? Yeah. But because if we could serve this in church, back in the days, the interpretation is like a short skirt. Short enough to attract attention, long enough to cover all the skirt. So I would like to stick with that.
Great. Do we have any questions from anybody on the floor? Not yet. Okay. Quick question for you. You spoke about surrogates.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence. And the ultimate surrogate has to be a robot. What do you see for robots in the future in business?
Well, we're already speculating on that, but we don't label them as robots. They're assistants. If they actually evaluate the way that is supposed to be in Hollywood, then the Terminator movie is going to be a reality. But robots, now with artificial intelligence have the capability to back us up on our errands. Running errands for us is a big plus. It is going to give us the time to break away from the stuff that actually bothers us. So it's a massive opportunity. On the workforce, it's a different thing. Because many of the investors that we're poking to ask their opinions are saying that, wow, that would be perfect. You know? The kitchen, the reception. Well, on the social responsibility basis, there's still some distance to cover on that front. It is going to be a bit worse if it goes the way that you're seeing at the moment for the workforce.
You raised the issue of the Terminator and Skynet, and all this integration of everything, Internet of everything, the integration of your fridge and your car and your watch, and monitor every aspect of your life, control every aspect of your life. Will it overtake us?
It does. It takes precedence over a lot because it makes our lives easier. I think the breaking point is about the control issue of the human beings over the technology or vice versa. I think we're going to find a middle ground. And hospitality industry is a great medium to test that. What's going on? I think my good friend Antonio Fernandez is going to speak about that a little bit, allowing technology in the rooms. And yeah, it's up and coming. It's inevitable, but it's fun.
Yes, but it's fun. Being creative. I just wonder whether luxury guests would like to be served by a robot rather than a person, a real, genuine person. Maybe that will be the luxury of the future, to be served by a real person at a budget hotel.
Well, I can easily tell you that they would like to experience both, just for experience.
Sorry, see you.
Fabulous presentation, again. Thank you very much. Just a question on, you showed one slide on the bed. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, what does it do? What's special in it?
Well, it cools and heats at your, decision.
And cellular built-in as well?
It's quite healthy, very interesting.
And it is feasible today for hotels?
Not yet, they're working on it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any other questions? I've got
Yeah,
Mr. Innovator himself.
I have one question for you and maybe for the audience, if someone wants to give some feedback on this. What do you think is the right strategy to attract and keep, if possible, these new clients, these people who are looking for innovative luxury rather than for location or service? What do you think is the strategy? Do you rely on the website and they will find you, or do you think you need to do something and think out of the box? How do you manage this attracting this new clientele, which is not looking for the usual, let's say, experience or just for the location?
Well, we've been pondering hard on that, banging our heads against the wall, and then with the strategy department. And what we came up with is that, first of all, we have to accept the fact that they're unmanageable. Secondly, we need to be mature enough to absorb some kind of infidelity in our loyal guests, for them to go out and try something new. And after that, if we want to win them back, okay, we can, badger them with, via the internet, emails. But if you can provide the versatility in experience, this can be culinary, health, or culture, you can still tap into their realm whilst they are jumping back and forth, trying something new. What we are doing at the moment is that we launched Holox, a Chinese brand. We launched Even, a fitness brand. And Kimpton, we acquired, is a culinary brand, in a sense. And we are also fine-tuning all other brands to adapt